Hey everybody, Adrian here from Premier Business Coaching and Consulting. And I wanted to just do a follow-up video from the first video I did on the first, I think it was 3 episodes of CEO Club. And as I continued watching parts of episode 5 and 6 and all the way through the end, just kind of really took a look at the relationships a lot of these women had and the support that it provided. And I think everybody needs during this time of building businesses, being a CEO, running your own company or your own organization, or just putting it together, and some of the issues and challenges they faced. Like Winnie, she has a beauty line for women of color, and some of her products are already tinted, like your SPF, your moisturizer, stuff like that, so that it kind of blends in with your skin tone and doesn't stand out. And one of her issues was over not really branding, but the way the product was in, like, the way it was packaged. And she was really being pressured and pushed on being changed, on that being changed. And um, were certain people still going to carry the line and everything? And so what she did though, she really went and talked to a couple of the other folks, and they really stood firm and behind her in that she didn't want to change her product or the formula, because that's really what um, she focused on and stood strong, like, in her heart, that's what mattered. Because I don't know if you're familiar with Winnie Harlow, but she has vitiligo. And so skin issues and, moisturizers and the colors and things like that of the products were super important to her. So she was able to stand strong in that. And the whole time, she was dealing with relationship issues. And so then it's just that added stress and that added pressure that all of us tend to go through during, dealing with family relationships or just building a business. And how she worked through that and stood strong in that, and even went into her meeting and stood on that product and ended up just coming up with a different packaging solution on that. Um, Another one that really stood out was, I think it is pronounced Thalia. And she had been going through the loss of her sister, really struggling with that. And she said, like, a really, really powerful quote from her, and was that she was talking to her husband and telling him everything that she was going through, and how, she was appreciating the support. But one of the things that really stood out was when she was talking to her husband, and she said, I need a lot of us, because I cannot be here for me right now. So, literally, um, speaking out loud and being very vulnerable in the fact that she really needed support while she was going through what she was going through, and still trying to deal with singing and making videos and, being a businesswoman. And that really saying that she couldn't even at that time show up for herself. And it just really made me think about, giving some grace to yourself while you're going through things like this. And it just really solidified the point that no matter what level you are at building your business or in your business, there's going to be these life changes and happenings that just happens. Like, life happens, and it happens to all of us. And so that one really stood out to me. Um, it was really great watching this show, because you have these, you know, high profile, high level, women who, of course, they're not just starting out. Most of these are, they've either built empires with their husbands, or they come from, some long line of already having money when they started, like Serena Williams, right, from tennis. So she went straight into making these other beauty products, and she was already popular, it was already happening, but it didn't mean that there's not going to be other issues and other things for her to overcome, right? There's constant challenges. And Hannah, she was another one in there she's a venture capitalist, and she was raising money, and she was talking to her mom and getting that support from her mom. And I want to say it was episode 6. And she was telling her mom and getting just really, upset and crying, and, talking about not wanting to fail. And getting hit constantly with no's, right? And I think we all know what that's about, whether you're selling something or you're, trying to pitch something to someone or, trying to sell your service and shoot, even looking for new jobs, right? I mean, I can't tell you how many no's and rejections I've had. Um, but she said she had to really think about dealing with the daily rejection and is it worth it? So, I mean, this woman is asking people for hundreds of thousands of dollars, right, to support women in business. And I can't imagine um, asking for that amount of money, let alone just selling a business, selling your service or selling your product, right? That's one thing. But asking for this amount of money, knowing what you want to do is really passionate and close to your heart, and you want to help women, and all she wants to do is help women who are really less, they have a less chance of getting backing and funding and money from venture capitalists. So she started this firm with her partner and literally goes around doing these pitches, asking from anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 of seed money. And don't mind that. It's like a little gnat in here or something. Um, but was constantly getting no's and actually got one of the episodes. Oh my goodness, she did this great pitch. This guy seemed super interested and he was like, yeah, count me in. I love it. It's great. I'll give you 50K right there on the spot. So she was super hyped, juiced, all excited. And the guy ended up ghosting her, never gave her the money, didn't return any of her calls, which was super shady because like now you're on TV doing that. But she was so disappointed and was really looking at this like a big failure. And that little pep talk just from her mom really just, got her back out there. She went and did another pitch and ended up making more than half of the money that she needed at the time. So that was also awesome. And then there was, what's her name? I think her name is Dee. She's married to Tommy Hilfiger and I guess decided to do her own like clothing brand, shoes. Um, I think then she rolled over into housewares or something like that. But she had, what was it? Oh, shoes. She started doing shoes. And she did this license and they canceled. They canceled it. They didn't want, the shoes. And so she ended up having to cancel this whole order. And so you'll probably be on the lookout. Those shoes are probably going to be at like Burlington's, Marshalls, um, TJ Maxx. You can find a good deal on some really good made shoes by Dee Oclepo. But she was just really, really disappointed in that. And let me see my notes here because something happened. She said she had to take a step back and canceled all the orders, but she said it wasn't a failure. She looked at it as an opportunity to do something else, and an opportunity to do something new was not a failure. And that completely resonated with me because as we go into these business ventures and start new things, we sometimes have to fail forward in what we're doing. And it's not something to be ashamed of um, or embarrassed about. Although, you're going to hear rumblings and things like that, but it's really an opportunity to revamp, um, go in a whole new direction, or revamp what you've been doing, just kind of restructure and get back out there and do it again, or do something new. Maybe it didn't catch on. Maybe you have another idea. And a lot of us do. Sometimes we have a ton of ideas, even those who start off really in like a niche area and you're ready to venture off and do something else. So failure sometimes has a purpose. Sometimes it'll birth something totally different and something maybe more successful. And she went straight into doing housewares from that, plates, linens, that kind of stuff. Um, and it looks like it's probably going to be more successful than her trying to start up a clothing line or shoes, kind of like her husband. So, um, really great points. It was really nice to see women ahead of businesses and the huge diversity in the range of the cast and the fact that they were actually being a little open and vulnerable about what actually happens when you are building basically an empire and building a legacy and things that you want to grow and maybe even pass down to your family or something that's really going to last a long time. So um, one more reason to check it out, especially if you're a woman in business. um, it really draws a big picture on what that full life looks like of having kids, having a spouse, dealing with a whole range of things, cancellations, failures, fear, right? A rejection and moving on. And so, as always, just check it out, the CEO Club on Prime, if you want to check that out, and just grab those little nuggets from that. So, just know going forward, you fall forward, you fail forward, build a new success. No matter at what stage, there's going to be some fear and some doubt, and but there's always ways to work through it, and it's all a part of it. So you can grow from it. All right, and so stay excited about what you're doing. Keep moving forward, even if you have to take a break, take a step back, go in another direction, and just keep growing from there. And as always, just give yourself some grace.